R.L Stine, this guy, is a writer that's best well known for creating the Goosebumps series, that was also turned into a popular kids TV show. And I can't deny that there's problems with it, but before I piss all over this cheesy childhood treasure of mine, let's just sit back and review what I feel is a classic, solid episode that I'm still gonna make fun of. But anyway, rough, rough, rough. Squeal of Fortune is the first episode of a 3-part trilogy series, and I'm just gonna say it, the first one's great, the last 2 are whatever, so let's get into it, shall we? The episode begins with 2 brothers trying to sell their crap at their parents' garage sale, and the older brother tells his younger brother, hey, stop being a pig, you know, get it? Squeal of Fortune, you know, okay. Anyway, Jessica Walters.
Jessica! Did you sleep with your goddamn teacher? No, I didn't! Yes, you did! No, I didn't! Jessica! You're a little slut.
So the only thing on Jessica's mind is money. She swindles the older brother out of his prized card. She goes home to her stock market. Her younger brother tries to bum her out of money. Her mom is like, hey, you should be a kid. And she's like, well, I'm the only one paying the bill, so
pay your rent or shut up.
Jessica goes up to the attic and finds a tiny little town called Karlsville. And when her mom comes up, you know, she's like, hey, this is great for you and your brother to play with. And Jessica's like, I'm not gonna play with this. I'm gonna sell it for money.
Hello, I like money.
The villain of the story, Carl, who's a tiny little townsperson, looks on with amusement.
It's the Botox. I can't show emotion for another hour and a half.
So her mom leaves and Jessica cleans up the place until she hears her phone rings. But it's not her cell phone, it's a tiny phone in the tiny town, which she touches and now she's magically there. Whoa, where am I? What's going on?
Help! Police!
Carl tells her, you know, hey, you can make a lot of money if you sell lemonade.
I'm looking for serious business opportunities here. I'm not selling lemonade.
You know, that's a lot of attitude coming from a kidnap victim, I'm just gonna say, alright? I would just do what this guy says, okay? And then try to escape. But anyway, once money enters the chat, you know, that Jessica can make a fortune off of this, that's when she decides to stay in this crazy tiny town and sell lemonade for Carl. And that's when we also meet Kiki. Who's gonna help Jessica sell lemonade. Now, while Carl walks away saying, you know, I can't help what happens to greedy pigs, you would think that Jessica would run the other direction, but
well, let's see how good this stuff really is.
No, fuck it. Money's the only thing on her mind. As Carl turns up the heat, a Karen walks by, Geppetto walks by, and this guy walks by and delivers the same exposition that she could be making a fortune off of this lemonade. So, drinking the Kool-Aid, Jessica, a kidnap victim, decides fuck it, shrinkflation, raising up the prices and handing out the same amount of lemonade given at the Wonka experience.
What is that? It's the end.
So basically nothing. So as the heat rises, the crowd becomes more and more crazy, demanding more and more cups of lemonade as the prices go more and more up, and Jessica doesn't care because, hey, she's making money. And Kiki gets a little bit concerned, but she still follows through with the plan. That is until Jessica, who somehow isn't seen by the giant crowd gathered around, decides to pour the rest of the lemonade into another container, and then pour a little bit into a cup and announce to the crowd, hey, this is the last cup of lemonade and I'll sell it to the highest bidder. Sold to perfect Geppetto. The crowd becomes crazy, starting to offer crazy amounts of money for this 1 cup of lemonade until they tip the table over, and that's when the rest of the lemonade spills over, and well, Jessica is caught in her scheme and the whole crowd turns against her. And that's when we see, honestly, I feel like it's some really great special effects makeup. Like, I feel like the Cats movie should have taken some notes from this episode, because this looks like a pig. This looks like a half humanoid, half pig creature. But this... Oh wait, okay. So Jessica is like, no, please, don't hurt me. It's all Carl's fault. Don't turn me into bacon. He set me up. And Kiki, the backstabbing bitch that she is, alright, rallies the crowd against her and makes them chase after Jessica. So while running around trying to hide, she runs into Carl.
You hogged the profits. I should have known you were nothing but a greedy little pig.
So Jessica runs away. She falls into mud. The townspeople is chasing her. And that's when she decides, you know, okay, I'm just gonna give them back their money. That's what they want. And after throwing it up in the air and running into the phone booth that she originally, you know, came into the town in, the townspeople are happy for a second, and then just still decide to kill her, saying, you know what, what goes good with eggs? You know what goes good with sausage? And that's where she tries to call home, thinking that's the way to get out of the town. And what's funny is that this wouldn't work in this, you know, time period, all right? Like, instead of a phone booth, it would have been like a cell phone that she would have texted like, hey, help me, please. And then when the brother texted back, that's how she magically got out. But it's the 90s, so she leaves it in the trash and everything seems to be solved. But uh-oh, the brothers from earlier in the episode stumble by and grab it out of the trash. What's gonna happen? So honestly, I was just gonna wait until another review to go over these last 2 episodes, but fuck it. Let's just finish this, okay? So the older brother has a small town. He sucks at baseball. And his parents thinks he's a hallucinating freak due to him constantly babbling to himself. And Carl uses all of that to his advantage, sucking the older brother... magically beaming the older brother down into the tiny town baseball field. Carl and him meet up and they do the typical shtick, you know, where am I? What's going on? And he's like, who cares? Just play baseball. And you know, whimsical shit ensues, okay? 2 things I do like about this episode is, one, it was probably due to budgeting or like scheduling, but I like how even though it's established before that there are townspeople, in this episode we don't see them, we only hear them. There's just some ominous effect that they're there, or vibe, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I like that shit. It's great. Number 2, the guy who plays Carl, you could just tell that he's having a ton of fun, okay? Like, he's playing so many characters in this one episode, even though it's the same guy technically, but he's just having a great time. So, anyway, Pubert almost dies by a crazy machine crawling across lava, the home plate almost taking his head off, and
It makes me want a hot dog real bad.
so he decides to deliver some demons and some Satan balls to chase after Pubert, but he makes it home, gets out of the tiny town, the whole thing is saved, and instead of throwing it away like Jessica did, he decides to go to bed. But Jessica, out of rehab, sees the tiny town and says, yo, Pubert, we have to get rid of this. What are you doing? Are you an idiot? And he's like, oh, yeah, I am. And so they decide to grab a trash bag, and while they're out, the tiny little brother walks by. His mail gets stuck inside the tiny town, and while grabbing it, he also gets sucked in. And now we're into the last episode. Okay, let's finish this crap. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And honestly, this one just falls flat on its ass. It's not the worst episode compared to others, but I just wish that compared to the first part of this trilogy, it would just live up to the hype and it would go out with a bang instead of a light tap. But anyway, like always, let's get into it. So Hubert, now shrunk down into the tiny town, stumbles around what the hell street, doing the same shtick that everybody else does when they come down to this place. Where am I? What's going on? But all of a sudden a marching band comes out. Balloons, Michelle Pfeiffer, confetti, gas is $2.50. Everybody's celebrating because Hubert won a contest.
So you have chosen death.
So while this is going on, Sing 1 and 2 show up and find out that Ding Dong has entered the miniature, and now they have to go save him. But Jessica is like, what if we can't get out? Well, what if he makes us learn a valuable lesson? What if he turns me into a pig?
What else are we supposed to do?
Why, you son of a bitch. I'm in. So Hubert gets captured while the gang shrinks down into the miniature town to save him, and Carl takes his sweet ass time trying to turn this little boy into plastic. Like, he's like a Bond villain that doesn't leave the room. Okay, he just stands there and just continues to monologue over and over again. Okay, I'm gonna pull the lever. I'm gonna turn you into plastic. Oh my god, no, don't do that, please. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull it. No, okay, well, don't do that, I guess. Believe me, I'm evil. I'm gonna turn you into plastic, okay? Well, do it already then. Anyway, the younger kids save the younger brother, and the unbothered parents who haven't seen their kids all day thinking, hey, they must be at the library studying, decides to vacuum the bedrooms. The mom, who is clearly high, accidentally vacuums the tiny town, which sucks up the kids, who brings them out of the tiny town. They start looking for Carl, but he's nowhere to be found, and that's when they decide to burn the tiny town, including all of the victims who are also trapped there. But hey, you know, they just want to make sure. But it doesn't matter because Carl comes out of the vacuum bag and is eaten up by a cat. So anyway, I'm gonna wait until another video to piss all over this series that I love, even though I made a lot of jokes during this review. But one thing I want to bring up is that in the first and last episode, like, Jess and the younger brother, they got to have a moment of, hey, this town is great, sunshine and rainbows, you're perfect, everything's fine, you're the best. But the older brother, Carl, just said, go f*** yourself to this kid. Like, the moment he showed up, Carl was just fucking with him and just put him through psychological torture. Like, again, these two got a moment of like, hey, everything's great, until the rug was pulled out from under them. But this guy just like, you're gonna be tormented the moment you get here, kid. I don't care if you die or not.